Welcome. A very good evening to you. Welcome to Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Betels. And of course, we're here to talk about something very important. As usual, Late Night Talk comes away every single weekday. And we're here from Monday through to Friday. Once again, welcome. My name is Kofi Betels. Hope you had a wonderful day. Yesterday was quite an interesting conversation. We had a bit of a different twist. But most of you who watched the program yesterday gave positive feedback as regards the program. Well, tonight we're moving back to usual political terrain as there seems to be some sort of implosion in the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party in Nigeria. Well, it all started some time ago when some members of the party tried to get the chairman of the party out, citing certain instances or incidences that have not argued well for the party. Of course, chairman went to court, and the courts, we had different court cases. Fast forward, Adams Oshiomhole was still chairman of the All Progressives Congress. Well, in his home state of Edo, there is a upcoming governorship election, and there's been no love lost between the governor of Edo State, Gordon Obaseki, and the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. Indeed, they were friends before now, but of course, they've run out of reasons to love themselves. Gordon Obaseki lost out in his bid to become the flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress in the forthcoming Edo governorship elections. That's his political party. And he paid a visit to Abuja and met with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, met with other stakeholders of the All Progressives Congress, went to Lagos, met with Tinubu, and after a while came to Port Harcourt, his office, surprised everyone, was in River State, in Port Harcourt, Brick House, Government House, visited Governor Nyesom Wike, they had a tete-a-tete, it was over social media, went to Akwa Ibom State, visited Imam Lodom. Now, why people were talking about it a lot was because these two governors, Udom and Wike, are of the People's Democratic Party. Fast forward to Tuesday, where the governor of Edo State, Gordon Obaseki, announced his resignation from the All Progressives Congress, but did not say where he was going to. As it is, Gordon Obaseki is the only partyless governor in Nigeria, and that's the news that has been flying around. Then, fast forward to today, we heard about an announcement from the All Progressives Congress, acting chairman, Victor Gyadam, who cancelled the primaries that meant that, or the process that meant that Gordon Obaseki was not able to stand, was disqualified to even be the flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State. Fast forward that we heard that the National Working Committee of the party had announced also Senator, and this was a shock to a lot of people who probably don't know what's going on in the party, Senator Abiola Ajimobi as the party's acting national chairman, following the Court of Appeals ruling that suspended the chairman Adams Oshiomhole. That also happened before. That's the timeline. Well, to discuss what's going on in the political party, the ruling party in Nigeria, I have my guest on the line. He is not a stranger to this program. He's been here before. He is an academic and also a stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State. I'm talking about none other than Dr. Gift Worlu, who joins me from his abode in Port Harcourt. Dr. Worlu, thanks for joining us, and good evening to you.
Thank you, Kofi, and good evening.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Very good, and you?
I'm okay, thank God.
Okay. For those who are watching, you can drop your comments in the comment section. I know Arsenal is playing Man City, and some Arsenal fans will not be watching tonight. But guess what? Sometimes it's good to avoid stories that touch. And Arsenal will be disappointing a lot of people today. So best to watch this one. But all the same, please drop your comments in the comment section. And maybe if time permits, you have the chance to call in and have your say. Dr. Worlu, once again, thanks for your time. Can you really tell us? Because I gave sort of a timeline, not so perfect, because everything was happening, like a whirlwind, and we were struggling to keep up with the developments. Can you give us a brief narration of what's been happening, as somebody who knows a lot about the party than we do?
Thank you very much for the question. Kofi, let me say that it is not surprising what is happening in the All Progressives Congress today, but it is very concerning. As a stakeholder, as a member of the party, and as a Nigerian, I feel sad that Nigerian politicians, especially those in the APC, given the way that the APC came to power in 2015, and all the promises that were made by the party, that the party will find itself in this kind of situation at a time like this, when the country expects so much from government, especially at the center. Now, what is happening in Edo State? I have followed it up, and I feel embarrassed. I feel totally disturbed by what is going on. And I see it as a reflection of a culture of impunity, a culture of indecency, a culture in which people don't have values and principles that drive the things that they do. I see a situation where Nigerian politicians over-personalize politics. Politics ordinarily is supposed to be something in the public sphere. It's not a personal matter. You don't in dealing with political issues, making political decisions. Is different from making your personal decisions, and so you cannot over personalize it. You cannot use your personal interest and your personal views about things to decide for everybody. But we see this happening over and over again. Kofi, you will agree with me that up till today, we have not heard from either of Obaseki or even Adams Oshomole what the quarrel between them is. But I can guess what the problem is.
Okay. The
problem is about what political scientists and economists or political economists will call neo-patrimonialism.
Neo what?
Neo-patrimonialism.
Patrimonialism.
Yes.
Dr. Worlu, please take it easy on us. What does that mean, sir?
It means that Nigerian leaders, rather than focus on how they can use the commonwealth for the good of the people, they are more concerned about how they can share this money among themselves, their family members, their cronies, and so on. And that is why people can go to this extent in fighting themselves and forgetting the promises that they made to the people before they were given mandate to be governors or president or whatever that they have become. You know that the APC in 2014 up to 2015, in the run-up to the 2015 election, ran on the mantra of change, promising to change the narrative from what they described as the rudderlessness and cluelessness of the PDP government under Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay.
And they made Nigerians a whole lot of promises. Nigerians believed them and voted them into power. Today, rather than focus on how they can deliver on those promises, rather than focus on the high rates of unemployment, high rates of insecurity, high rates of poverty that is tearing the country in the face and tearing the country apart, they are fighting among themselves. And that is because their focus is not on solving those problems which pertain to the people and the goodness of the people. It is about themselves. It's about their families. It's about their friends and cronies. And so it is sad and unfortunate what is happening. But what Nigerians need to understand from all of this is that Nigerian politicians have become increasingly irresponsible, increasingly, callous.
That's amazing or surprising to hear, being you yourself a politician as well.
Yes, I'm a politician and I'm a member of the APC, and that's why I said in the beginning that I'm embarrassed by what is happening. Okay. Because today now we have about 5 different persons contending for the national chairmanship of the party. It is unprecedented.
How many again, please?
There are about 5.
5, okay.
I can name them. You cannot rule out the fact that Oshomole is still in contention because he has a choice to go to the court. He can get stay of execution and appeal to the Supreme Court. Okay. Until we get to that point, if the Supreme Court rules against him, we cannot say that he still doesn't have interest to be chairman of the APC. Then there is Victor Giadom, who has declared himself chairman. We also have Senator Shehu Lawal, who is the deputy national chairman North. And then you have Senator Abiodun Ajumobi, who is the deputy national chairman South. We also hear that Hillary Etta has also declared that he is the chairman of the party. So in the main, we have about 5 of them.
Okay, but for Hillary Etta, I'm hearing that because I saw a message circulating around, signed by the spokesman of the All Progressives Congress, National Public Secretary Malam Lanre Isa Onilu, who said that Ajimobi, who we hear has coronavirus, was not available due to his unavoidable absence. They now said the National Vice Chairman South South Prince Hilliard Etta should act in or on his behalf. Is there any truth to this?
Well, you see, whatever anybody is saying as it stands, if it goes against the interests of other people, for example, what you are saying now means that somebody like Victor Giadon, for example, will not be comfortable with that kind of pronouncement and may not agree. And if he doesn't agree, and he's making his own points so strongly as he has made, he has addressed the nation, as far as I'm concerned. He has addressed the party and addressed the nation on why he thinks that he should be chairman. So if another person says that he cannot be and advances their own position, it will mean that in the end, it will have these matters will have to go back to the courts for interpretation. Okay. But you see, the annoying part of all of this is that this party that we're talking about has a legal advisor, right? And then the government also has an attorney general and minister for justice. Okay. Now, ordinarily, these people are supposed to advise the party on what is the true position of the law. But I don't know how we got to the point where these offices exist only in name, but not in substance, they don't act. So, in the end, all these contending dramatis persona, if you like, they have to approach the courts for legal interpretation. Okay. And that means that the problem will continue to fester and linger for as long as anybody can imagine. So, for me, it clearly shows that politicians in Nigeria don't quite understand the seriousness of the business that they are into. See, Kofi, we cannot get it right with our economy. We can't get it right with security. We can't get it right with education. We can't get it right with health until we get it right with politics. So that's how important and that's how central politics is. But unfortunately, it appears to me that a lot of the people who are in politics don't quite understand it. And then in all of these things, the question that we need to ask is, where is the leader of the party, APC, in all of this? So
which of the leaders are you talking about? Which leader are you referring to? Because that is another issue.
The president of the country.
Okay. It's the same question we're also asking on our post tonight.
Yes. The president of the country who is, to me, the effective leader of the party.
Okay, not Tinubu.
Not Tinubu. That Tinubu thing have been...
national leader, isn't it?
You see, Kofi, sometimes people create the monsters that consume them. You cannot have the president of the country who is a member of the party, and then you have another person called the national leader of the party. Now, is that to suggest that the president reports to him? And in all of these things, you know that from elementary study of how organizations are governed, that you cannot have two captains in a ship. It's not possible for you to have people reporting to different people at the same level.
So Dr. Worlu, does this not really now show us where the problem in the All Progressives Congress is coming from? Where you have, like some people have said, a party that was formed from different parties, people defecting from the PDP, people defecting from other parties. I'm trying to remember the one where that came in from Imo State. ABGA and some other parties who, moving with their own basis to come into the All Progressives Congress. And some have come in and have gone back to the PDP, and those who they left there have come to the APC. Is this not the foundation of the problem, that you have people who came with different ideas, different ideologies, different, you had the Tinubu faction, you had Buhari's party, I'm trying to remember the name of Buhari's party, and all this will coming together. Isn't this a genesis? Because you have in the South, you have Amechi. You have in the Southwest, you have Tinubu. And you have in the North, Buhari. So isn't this the genesis, the beginning of the problem?
It is not. What I see as the problem here is what I talked to you earlier about, the over-personalization of public affairs. Now, today, before the APC was formed, these groups and interests existed. Mm-hmm. As soon as the party was formed, and the party developed one single manifesto, the party developed one single constitution, the party presented one single presidential candidate, everybody was supposed to surrender their interest or subordinate their interest for that one overarching interest, which is the APC. So you cannot be talking about NPDP in APC. You cannot be talking about ABGA or CPC and all those groups that came together. They have come together to have one common ideology, one common purpose, one common vision, one common everything. But unfortunately, a lot of people still cling to that their original platform. It's like what is happening in Nigeria. Do you know that, Kofi, in this country, there's nobody called a Nigerian? Or people don't very easily identify with the identity Nigeria. They rather want to be seen as coming from their state or their tribe. And that's the problem. A time comes when you must agree that you are a Nigerian and that everything that you are doing and everything you want to benefit is because you are a Nigerian.
Yeah,
but what do we find? Yeah. People say that they are from Biafra. Some other people say they are Arewa. Some other people say they are, Oduduwa, and also all kinds of things. And they wouldn't mind seeing Nigeria burned to ashes because they are trying to defend some ethnic interest.
All right. Okay.
Or some, state interest.
Okay.
That's the problem.
But Doc, I mean, we have people who were lords, in the blocks that they left or they submerged or they collapsed into the All Progressives Congress. We had people who were Jagaban. We had people who were kingmakers. We have people who were lions of Niger Delta. We have people who, and all these people. I remember even Tinubu at some point said he could have been president. One of the campaign rallies that he held said he could have been president. But he decided to step aside for Buhari to be the president, but he on any good, So these guys are leaders. Because what we are seeing playing out now, we have camps. So, sir, are we not seeing all these power blocks, creating their own camps to try and wrestle or wrest the leadership of the party to their camp? Victor Giadom is there. Who is behind him? Abiola Ajimobi is there. Who is behind him? And then this other name that came up from the north, and I'm trying to remember the name. Who are the powers behind these people?
Well, it's okay for people to have people that they see as their leaders or that they have worked with over the years. You remember that even President Buhari, time was when he was in APP. Time was when he moved to AMPP. He went to SCP. He belonged to CPC and all of that. But now he's in APC. Now, you cannot be in APC and be promoting CPC agenda. You cannot be in APC and be promoting APP agenda. In the case of Buhari now, for example, which particular agenda is he supposed to be promoting? Is it ACP? Is it, APP or CPC. People need to transit from whatever they. It's like I keep saying, it's the problem of Nigeria. The more we claim to have modernized, the more we claim to have civilized, the more we emphasize traditional, values. The more we live like people in the Stone Ages, and that's the problem. So for me, it's like people really don't want to change and move forward. People don't really care about, the rest of the society and what responsibility they have for bringing about a better society. People only care about themselves. So you can come, do anything you like, so long as it favors whatever interest you want to advance at a particular point in time. But there is something called enlightened self-interest, which means that you also have to accommodate the interests of other people.
Okay.
You also have to accommodate the interests of society as a whole. Now, if you have a political party called the APC, it should be understood that this party is made up of different interests. Now, there must be a way of galvanizing this interest to pursue a common purpose, to pursue a common ideology.
Okay.
And that is where leadership becomes very important. And that is why I asked the question the other time that where is the place of the national leader of the party?
Who is the national leader?
The national leader of the party is the president of the country.
So what about Tinubu? I ask again, sir. What about Tinubu?
Even if because of what they did in the APC, which I told you is the reason why the ship cannot make progress because it has two captains. Even if maybe there's Tinubu on one hand and Buhari on the other, the both of them or one of them should have been able to come out at this point that the house is burning down to say, look, gentlemen, we can't continue on this path. The world is watching. We are dancing naked in the market.
That's a very
afford. Yes, we can't afford to be doing this because we will be betraying the goodwill. We'll be betraying the trust of Nigerians. But they're not saying anything. In fact, yesterday I learned that the governor of Edo State went to the Aso Rock Villa, with a view to seeing the president, but he couldn't see him. He ended up seeing only the chief of staff. So he has not had a word with the president, who is the leader of the party. And then we also hear that he has gone to Tinubu. I don't know what Tinubu must have told him. But in all of this, you see that there's no cohesion. There's no purposeful leadership in the party.
So are you saying, is there now a leadership vacuum in the APC? Is that what you're saying?
There is, and nobody should deny this. There's a leadership vacuum. Because if there wasn't, we probably won't be where we are now.
And you're pointing the accusing finger squarely at the president. Is that what you're saying? The
president and the other people who qualify as leaders at that level. Because when you talk about leadership, it cannot be one person in the context of a party. So you have the president, you have the vice president, you have the speaker of the House of the Senate, the speaker of the House of Reps, and the president of the Senate, and then you have Tinubu and all the other leaders, including the ministers and members of the National Working Committee of the party. These people can sit down somewhere as respectable men and women and chart a proper course for the party, not necessarily because of the interests of the party, but because of the interests of the country. Don't forget that this party runs the government. This country, this party has the instrument of state. And from the look of things, it will appear that they have taken this instrument for granted.
Okay.
And so they are not doing what they are supposed to do for the people. They are not giving the people hope, even in the face of the pandemic. Because when people perceive that the leaders themselves are not united, they are not working in synergy
Okay.
with a view to solving the many problems that stare us in the face.
Dr.
I
Worlu.
talked about the issue. Yes.
So basically, I mean, what you're succeeding in telling me here, and what you're saying is that there is, you've already said it, there is a leadership vacuum in the APC. There is no leader in your party, the All Progressives Party. I believe I'm on the same page with you, sir.
There's a leader, but the leader is inactive.
So
the leader is not saying or doing anything.
So if the leader is inactive, then it means that he is not providing leadership, which means that there is no leadership in the party. Is that what you're saying, sir?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay. So
they're not providing leadership, because leadership is not about position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leadership is about result.
Absolutely.
Leadership is about deliverables.
Absolutely.
So if the house is burning, everybody expects the leader to lead the war to put off the fire. And if the leader is not doing that, I don't know what else you can call it, if not the absence of leadership.
So in essence, what does this, Dr. Worlu, what does it say about the leader of your party, who incidentally is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? If he cannot keep the house in order, keep things in check, hell, even in his own backyard in Aso Rock Villa, there has been literally fire and gunshots. His wife has been screaming from the mountaintop, and some sort of confusion that have caused people to ask the question, who is in charge? And if the president is really in charge of his affairs at home. So from what you are saying, that the All Progressives Congress doesn't have leadership right now, the president, who you say is the national leader of the party, is not able to provide leadership. What does this say about his capacity? Because we're looking at Nigeria as a nation now. Our existence, the lives of everyone, somehow depends on the decisions that the president makes. So what is what you are saying about the capacity of the president?
Kofi, in psychology, there's something called bias.
Okay.
And one of the biases that we have in life is what is called the halo effect.
Halo effect.
Halo effect.
Okay.
HALO effect. Halo effect is a situation where, in making a decision, for example, to choose a candidate for an election, rather than look at all the qualities, you get overwhelmed by one particular quality, and then you pick somebody. So the person maybe needs to be loyal, the person needs to be competent, the person needs to have social skills, and so on and so forth. The person needs to have experience, but you focus it, and then the person also needs to look good. If you make the mistake of focusing only on how good the person looks, and you don't look at all the other factors of competence, of loyalty, and so on and so forth, you are making a mistake by being biased to one of the factors instead of all the factors. And I think that that's what has happened to Nigeria in the case of the election of Buhari. A lot of people believe that Buhari is a no-nonsense man, a military general who led the war against indiscipline and all of that. And a lot of people believe that because Nigeria was facing serious security challenges at that time, that he would be able to come in and provide his military experience to help reduce that problem. And of course, he talked about the fight against corruption. So a lot of people believe that because of his claim of integrity and all of that, that he will be able to bring corruption to an end. Of course, corruption is a problem in Nigeria. And then he also talked about fixing the economy and saying that he will not allow people to use Nigeria money the way they used to use it before, carelessly. Now, but in the end, that quote-unquote over-reliance on integrity as a quality blinded us to the fact that we also needed to look at factors like how smart the man is. Because somebody can be transparent, but not be smart.
Okay.
We didn't look at the fact that we're talking about a modern economy and that the man needs to understand the economics and how to and have the capacity to run a modern economy.
Are you saying he doesn't understand economics?
No. From what we have seen so far, it is evident that the economy is not working. See, let me tell you, frankly speaking, I'm a member of the APC.
You campaigned actually. I know I had you many times in the studio.
I campaigned vigorously for Buhari. At the time Buhari was coming to power, I was the local government chairman.
Yeah.
So I led, with the help of other people, the campaign in my local government.
You even risked your life, and your family also suffered as well.
Exactly. And I had so much faith in what we were doing. But the party promised 3 basic things. And I was happy that the party did not overpromise. Because you know that it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than to overpromise and underdeliver.
Absolutely.
So the party promised 3 things, basically: to fix the economy, to fight corruption, and to fight insecurity. On all 3 scores, the party has failed. I said this on my honor. I say it because as a Nigerian,
Dr. Worlu, sorry, sir. I didn't hear you well. Could you just repeat yourself, please, sir?
I said that the party promised 3 things: to fix the economy, to fight and defeat corruption, and to defeat insecurity, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria, Boko Haram. Today, as we speak, under this government, the government and the party has failed on all 3 counts. These 3 areas, the party has failed. The economy is in a bad shape. It has been worsened by the coronavirus pandemic. Many people have lost their lives, their livelihoods, their communities under this government. The rate of insecurity has not subsided. If anything, it has increased more than what it was at the time the government came into office. And when you talk about corruption, I don't think that corruption has come down in Nigeria. In fact, I don't think that people still believe that this government is fighting corruption. I've had to say before, painfully though, that it will appear that the crime fighter is not able to scale the fence. So you cannot be a crime fighter chasing criminals. The criminal jumps across the fence, and you cannot cross the fence. So the criminal will run away safely.
This is remarkable. I mean, coming from you, Dr. Worlu, who is a stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, to say that your party, in its leadership of the country as the ruling party of Nigeria, has failed. That's my
position. And I think I'm entitled to my position.
Are you still a member? Are you still a member of the All Progressives Congress?
I am, and I believe that one of the things that you must do when you want to solve a problem is to properly define it. Now, in defining the problem, I'm saying that this is where we are now, but we can do better. If we admit that we have not done well in this area, we still have time on our side. We still have 3 years to go. We just celebrated the first 1 year of the second term. So we have 3 years to go.
Okay.
And a whole lot can be achieved under 3 years. It's just a matter of agreeing that the ship is not sailing in the right direction and redirecting the ship.
All right.
It doesn't take million years. The late Obafemi Awolowo asked to be made the president of Nigeria, even if for 1 day. So 3 years is so many days, more than almost about 1,000 days.
Dr. Worlu, we'll come to the future and how the party, your party, the All Progressives Congress, can re-strategize and adjust itself to avert further, disaster. As a matter of fact, it's been disaster. As far as the governorship elections are concerned, you have, in what could potentially be in Edo State, or be the case in Edo State, has already happened in Rivers State. It's already happened in Bayelsa State. It's already happened in Imo State, almost in Imo State. It's already happened in Benue State. It's already happened in Zamfara State. Where else? Where else? Did I mention Benue State? And so on and so forth. So we'll look at that as time goes on. But I want to welcome our listeners listening or watching us from around the world. If you're in Port Harcourt, well, now here we there. If you're listening outside River State and you're listening, across the country, Nigeria, good evening to you. If you're listening from outside Nigeria, around the world, good evening to you. Our guest tonight is a member, not just a member, a stakeholder of Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress. And he's here to talk about the crisis in the All Progressives Congress. It's been a whirlwind day for political watchers in Nigeria. It's been like a dizzying day. When you're in a chair and they're spinning you around, you begin to get dizzy. That's what it's been as far as politics in Nigeria today is concerned. I mean, we're all still trying to recover or exhaust the talking points regarding the resignation or the departure of Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki from the APC following his surprise, visit to Wike of the PDP and Udom of the PDP as well. And then today we got the news, of course, court had sacked Adams Oshomole Appeal Court, and then the battle for who will be the chairman of the All Progressives Congress began. Internal wrangling, if you want to call it. Some call it coup. But this party, the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, cannot bring its acts together. And the question on the lips of many Nigerians is, can the party successfully steer the ship of Nigeria in these trying times if it cannot steer itself? Can the party steer the ship of Nigeria successfully in these trying times if it cannot manage its own affairs? It's a question on the lips of Nigerians. And like my guest has said, Dr. Giftolo, who is a member of the All Progressives Congress and an academic, he is of the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Port Harcourt, he has said that it questions the capacity, the leadership of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the leader, in his words, of the All Progressives Congress, and that should give some cause for concern. I'd like to welcome those of you who are watching us from around the world. Let's see if we have some messages. If you're watching on Twitter, I'd like you to drop a message on Twitter. Also retweet this live stream so that your followers can follow as well. If you're watching on Facebook, please share this live stream, share this post so that those of your friends on Facebook can also watch as well. Like the post, comment on it, share it, follow my page, Kofi on Air or Kofi Patel's on Air, and click the notification button so each time I go live, you get notified. If you're watching on YouTube, please also comment, like the live stream, the video, and share it as well. I'd like to say good evening to our listeners right now. Promise Wopara, good evening to you. Kelvin Omoluku, good evening to you. He's asking me which station. This is it, Facebook. Facebook station. Comrade Jesse Akaigo says, good evening, Kofi Bartels. The crisis in the All Progressives Congress, I think it's a welcome development to the PDP members in the coming general election as that's 2023, as PDP prepares to take over the federal. Thanks. I wonder how that statement makes Dr. Worlu feel. Dr. Giftolo, how does that statement make you feel when someone's saying, yes, the PDP is preparing to take over the federal come 2023?
Well, they say that facts are sacred.
Okay.
And when you see something that is real, being in denial of it doesn't make it unreal. Now, as of today, if Governor Obaseki joins the PDP as we're hearing, that will mean that all the 6 states in the South are now under the control of the PDP. And that will bring to 7 the number of states that the APC has lost to the PDP since 2015. And I read something on WhatsApp, one of the WhatsApp platforms, earlier in the day, where somebody posted something about a comment from the national chairman of the PDP, who was making a mockery of the APC by thanking Adams Oshomole, calling him an unpaid agent who is doing a wonderful work for the PDP.
Is he far from the truth? he's trolling your party.
Handing them states, without them even asking for it.
He's dishing them out for free.
You know what happened in Zapara, for example? The APC won all the seats, but eventually handed everything over to the PDP. In the case of Rivers State, it was that the party was not on the ballot at all. And then today, as we speak, all the positions from councillor to chairman of local government to state assembly members to national assembly members to the governor are all PDP people. So, and the APC did not feature. All of these things is because young gentlemen and ladies could not sit down to think beyond their personal interest, to think beyond their ego, to think beyond whatever internal issues. See, I'm an Ikwere man in Ikwere tradition. Mm-hmm. We say that if there is an internal fight, and then there is an external fight, you suspend the internal fight and fight the external fight.
Wow.
The political party APC has an external fight. Unfortunately, they are spending all their energy and resources bruising themselves, fighting the internal fight, and then leaving the external fight. The truth of the matter is that whether anybody likes it or not, the PDP is like an enemy lurking in the corner, watching APC members kill and destroy themselves. And once they are done, or even when they have become very weak fighting themselves, these people will just very easily walk across, take whatever they want to take, and go away. That's how it works. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, if our politics is done properly and the votes of electorates count, people cannot put their votes in a political party that is fighting themselves. It's not a normal thing for anybody to do.
Absolutely.
You want to put your money where you are sure that it will be safe, right?
Absolutely. Very true.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So it's the same logic.
Okay.
If people see and perceive that the APC is a house of commotion, you don't expect them to cast their vote for that house of commotion. So it will be the game of the PDP and all the other parties that are also contending for whatever it is, or for the position that and the power that the APC currently controls. It was the same way that when the PDP were fighting themselves prior to 2015, the APC came in and it very easily, in an unprecedented manner, won the election.
So you're saying the same thing is now happening to the APC?
The APC, yes, whether they or know it or not, or whether they will agree or not, they are doing the same thing that the PDP did, for which they took power from them. And if you do the same thing, that it's like, sorry to use this example, there's one song one rock song that I like so much that says that you don't find a virgin in a maternity ward. So if somebody has done what other people do, you have the same effect. It follows that way. If a young girl decides to do what her mother, has done, she will find herself in a maternity ward.
Okay.
The APC is self-destroying. The APC is following the path that the PDP followed prior to 2015.
Okay.
And the result, we cannot expect to be different.
Okay. Dr. Worlu, thank you very much. Interesting analogy you've drawn there. Looking at where, the fact that, you've taken my mind back to 2014, 2015, and the issues surrounding the People's Democratic Party and how the likes of Amechi left, and then the likes of Saraki followed him, and so on and so forth. And I'm now beginning to think about, where all this, division started, you're looking at, okay, the attempt by the leadership of the party to make sure Saraki does not become the Senate president, etc., to install the party's anointed candidate, against Tambuwal and all that. Now Tambuwal has left; he has gone to the PDP, etc. But I mean, we'll look at that as we go. But I just want to welcome those who are watching us now. For those who have just joining us, you're welcome. Please share this stream. If you're on Twitter, please retweet it. If you're watching on Facebook, please share. If you're watching on YouTube, please share. Also like it. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, you can like my page and follow it, because those are two different things on Facebook. Also hit the notification button so that each time I go live you get notified. If you're on Twitter, just retweet. Also follow me on Twitter as well. Thank you very much. My name is Kofi Betels. Today, looking at the crisis in the All Progressives Congress, my guest is a stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, one-time local government chairman of Obiakpo local government area, one of the largest local government areas in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm told they are number 2. I need to cross-check that. And, of course, he's an academic as well, Department of Management Sciences, University of Port Harcourt. He said so many things, highlights of which is that his party, the All Progressives Congress, as the ruling party of Nigeria, has failed. He said that here, and I respect him for that independent opinion. Let's go over to your comments. First up, we continue with the Facebook comments, but you're welcome to Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Betels, by the way. We have, I think I've read Comrade Jesse Akago's message. So let's go over to Martin Stochuku Smart, who says the APC is just a party built on falsehood, no rules guiding the party. Okay, I don't know if that's true because they have a constitution. Next one here is sent in by Solomon James Ebong. Solomon, good evening to you. Been some time. He says, good evening, Kofi. I'm chatting with you from Chuba. Okay, that's great. It says, you see, APC crisis is a welcome development in the sense that God wants to reward them for manipulation during the 2015 and 2019 elections. So therefore, it's time for God to reveal it for us to see what they have been doing. I rest my case. Okay, well, time will tell. Gabriel Apa, good evening to you. You're watching the live stream. Michael Barry Befe says, from the point of law, Chief Victor T. Giadam is the only legal chairman the APC can have for now. They should support him. We'll look at that as we go on. Olivia Ijoma. All right, you just joined. Thank you very much for joining in. Eugene Abels just joined as well. Eugene, good evening to you. Been some time. Miss you, man. Charlie Ademepeyong Dao. Mr. Festus Okuche, good evening to you. Ekai Soete, good evening to you. Eugene Ode, good evening. Tani Young, good evening. Israel Amadu says APC will end the moment Buhari's tenure ends. Oh, my. John Peters, good evening to you. Jerry Etugakban says, so happy that the Shimole was dealt with. Okay. Someone is asking what section of the law. In reply to Mike Baribefe's statement that Giadam is a legal chairman of the party. Bright Oscar says, Mr. Kofi, all right, you're watching me. Where you see me right now is where you should watch me every night. John Peters says, when at the handing over ceremony by Shomole to Obaseki, he says the president, who was fiscally president, said that they will need Oshomole's service at the national level, and speculations were rife that he will be the national chairman of the APC. I shouted at different fora that they shouldn't try that. Rather, he should be appointed minister and sent to the Labor and Productivity Ministry so he can meddle between the workers and the executives. Okay. Else, if he's made a national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, he'll destroy the party because he is not a good politician but a good labor man. Today we are here. Let's learn from the voice of reasoning. So let's come back to you, Dr. Gift Worlu. You've said that the national leadership of the party is responsible, talking about the president, for allowing things get this bad. But where lies the blame you have for Shomole in all of this? Or is he free of any blame as far as what's happening in your party is concerned?
He cannot be free of blame. He is part of the national leadership, and until yesterday, he was the national chairman of the party. And he was supposed to work to ensure that the party is united, that the party lives the spirit and the letter of its constitution, to ensure that the party presents as a trustworthy institution to the electorate. But instead, it will appear that because of whatever personal grievances he may have had with the governor, whom he, to a very large extent, installed in Edo State, he decided to let that personal interest or that anger to overshadow the overall interest of the party and what the party represents. And, like I said, I'm not surprised about these things because we see these things happening over and over and over again. Don't forget that recently, during the last election in Bayelsa, the SY president, Goodluck Jonathan, who rose from the ranks in the PDP, he was deputy governor, became governor, became the vice president, and then finally president. For whatever reason, he took sides with the APC to install the ill-fated David Leon government in Bayelsa State. And what that tells me is that sometimes people subordinate group interest for personal interest. And that's dangerous. That's not how to run public affairs. When you're running something that is not your private thing, it's like if you want to decide what you want to eat this night, and it is only about you, you can decide anything, including not eating at all. Okay. But when it has to do with you and another party, your wife or your children or any other person, there must be some kind of discussion as to what are we going to eat. And then the person says rice, and then you can say beans, and then finally you agree on something. That's the way to go about it. And that's why we talk about institutionalization of internal democracy. We must make internal democracy an important aspect of our politics.
Okay, so Dr. Worlu, now, because everybody was all about Adams Oshimole, he has to go. This man is a problem of the party, etc., etc. Okay, so now Adams Oshimole is out of the picture. The court has told him to step aside, and the party is free to continue its activities, even go over to Edo State and change what Oshimole put there. Lo and behold, what we are saying is the party cannot even get its acts together. So maybe the problem was not Oshimole. What do you say to that?
We can't say that the problem was not Oshimole. Oshimole is central to the problem. The only thing is that the other leaders, some of whom are higher than Oshimole in the hierarchy of things, ought to have called him to order early enough, and then ensured that the party was cohesive and united as they face their opponents in the forthcoming election. But that did not happen. Now, Oshimole is out of the way, and then you are hearing all kinds of pronouncements here and there. Again, the national leadership of the party is not saying anything to all of this. A lot of people are laying claim to being national chairman because Oshimole was removed. That is not how it is supposed to be. And like I said, even not some of the statements that we're hearing from people, I heard you say that somebody said that, legally speaking, that Giadon is supposed to be the chairman.
Exactly.
I don't know if that person is a lawyer or maybe a judge. But even if he is, the truth of the matter is that the party has a legal arm. There's a legal advisor who can look at the constitution of the party, look at all the judgments that people have gotten and all of that, and adequately advise the party on the way forward. Okay. And when he makes that advice, it becomes the responsibility of the leadership of the party to enforce it, to ensure that everybody complies with that advice. In what is like a family-like discussion, And then they rise from that meeting and then see everybody smiling and complying with what has been agreed. That way, you won't see some of these things that we are seeing where one person is talking from one point, another person is saying another thing from another point, creating confusion in the system, insulting the sensibilities of party members and Nigerians as a whole. So this is not how it should be. This is not how political parties need to be run.
Okay.
So you want to see these people who are laying claims to all these things. First of all, agreeing that whatever claims that they have cannot be superior to the overall interest of the party.
Okay. Dr. Worlu, interesting take there. We'll look at more on the way forward as we go on. But one record the party should not be happy or proud about is producing 3 acting national chairmen in 3 hours. I mean, that is a record I'm sure even the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for all their sins, have not been able to meet match. 3 acting national chairmen in 3 hours. It's almost like deja vu. We'll get back to that. But yes, indeed, 3 national chairmen in 3 hours. We have, like I said, Victor Giadom, relying on section 14 sub 2 paragraph 3 of the APC Constitution 2014 as amended. The National Working Committee of the party had named the Deputy National Chairman South, like you said, Dr. Worlu, earlier, Abiola Ajimobi, former governor, as acting national chairman. But it was not until Wednesday morning that a statement credited to him emerged, indicating that he had assumed office that morning. Section 142 sub 2 of the APC Constitution 2014 as amended, that's section 142 sub 2 of the APC Constitution as amended, stipulates the duties of a deputy national chairman of the party, among which is to assist the national chairman in the discharge of his duties. Section 14 sub section 2 paragraph 3 says, and I quote, the deputy national chairman shall act as a national chairman in the absence of the national chairman from his zone. The deputy national chairman shall act as the national chairman in the absence of the national chairman from his zone. On Wednesday morning, Special Advisor Communication and Strategy to the former Oyo State Governor, that's Senator Abiola Ajimobi, he said that his name is Bolaji Tunji, said his principal had assumed the reins of leadership in the aftermath of the order of the Court of Appeal affirming the suspension of the national chairman. Barely an hour later, Deputy National Secretary of the party, our very own, River State's very own, Chief Victor Giadom, announced a takeover of party affairs, declaring as invalid all the processes which led to the disqualification of Governor Godwin Obaseki from the June 22 APC primaries in Edo State. Barely an hour later, after Ajimobi came up, Giadom, who arrived the secretariat of the party at about 10 a.m., according to the Vanguard, with a retinue of security aides, premised his action on Tuesday's court judgment, which affirmed the suspension of Oshimole as national chairman. That was a court of appeal, by the way. And Giadom was not alone. He didn't go alone. Apart from the security aides, you had party officials with him. For instance, the Deputy National Organizing Secretary of the party, Muhammad Sani Ibrahim, he is not a member of the National Working Committee, but he was seeking to oust the National Organizing Secretary, Emma Ibediro. He was flanking Victor Giadom. So what is Giadom, Doctor? Well, are you aware of what Giadom is on what premise Giadom is declaring himself the acting national chairman of your party? Because we've quoted a section of the party's constitution on which Ajimobi says he's assuming the reins of the party as acting national chairman. So what do you think Giadom's ground is for declaring himself as chairman? Something about a court order.
Yeah, what I have read is that what I have heard from the announcement made by Giadom is to the effect that there was a court judgment before now, or an injunction. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how to use some of these words. Mm-hmm. But the point is that there was a judgment when Oshiomhole was first suspended.
Yes.
In the trial court, that said that Giadom should assume office as the
acting
national chairman, as the highest ranking official, because Giadom originally was the deputy national secretary. Then when the secretary, I think, resigned, he became national secretary, acting national secretary. And then Oshiomhole was suspended in that court ruling months back. And then he got a judgment, just maybe things were like the way they are now. And then he was one of those who got the judgment to say that he is supposed to take over. But he couldn't quite take over because soon after, Oshiomhole got a stay of execution and also went on appeal, which meant that they returned to status quo ante. Now, upon returning to status quo ante, Giadom couldn't act until now that the appeal court has upheld the ruling of the court of first instance. Now, but that's his own argument. But like I said, I don't want to go into the legal technicalities of these issues. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in a sound position to be able to talk about that. Okay. And that is why I will call on the legal advisor of the party to advise the party accordingly. And then for the leadership of the party to weigh in and ensure that somehow these issues are properly sorted out so that they can have somebody that everybody agrees is the national chairman. Now, on the issue of Ajimobi, the point there, from what I can glean, is that Ajimobi was elected deputy national chairman South. But that is appointment, that is election, has not yet been ratified.
Oh, really?
It ought to have gone to the party ought to have a congress in which that election will be ratified. That has not happened. An analogy or a metaphor for what I'm talking about is, if you're a student in the university, you have written all your exams up to final year and you have passed all the exams. Ordinarily, you have graduated. But you need to wait for the Senate of the university to approve that result before you can declare yourself a graduate, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Until that happens, you are not a graduate. You are at best somebody who has passed all his exams. That is the kind of situation in which Ajimobi finds himself. Another way to look at it is, if you work in the university, for example, and you apply to be a professor, and then you have gone through the promotions committee screening, and they have found you appointable, that decision of the appointment committee has to go to the university council, who have the power to declare you a professor. Until then, you will not be called a professor. You cannot claim to be a professor. So, Ajimobi is no doubt the deputy national chairman of the party, but with a kind of a comma. There's a comma to it, because that position has not been ratified by a congress of the party.
What about Hilliard Etta? Is he substantive, or is he a qualified, ratified deputy national chairman south of the party?
He is not a deputy national chairman. He's a deputy vice chairman south.
Sorry, deputy vice chairman south. I apologize.
Yeah, deputy vice chairman.
Which is Oshiomhole's zone. Is south and south.
Oshiomhole's zone. But if you look at what the Constitution talks about, the order of succession, it says national officer, not regional officer. Hillary is a regional officer, not a national officer.
Okay. Is he a member of the National Working Committee?
I don't know those things. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's a regional officer, not a national officer. You said
he's a vice chairman at the regional level.
Okay.
Not at the national level.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So in terms of hierarchy, the likes of Victor Giadom and Ajumobi and all these other people are higher than him.
Okay.
But again, like I said, each of these claims have their shortcomings, and for which the legal advisor is to come in. And if that doesn't happen, then we might have to wait for an interpretation of the court.
Okay. Dr. Worlu, what role does the National Working Committee play in all of this? Because whilst Giadom is, as you rightly said, relying on the suit brought before Honorable Justice S.U. Bature in March this year, which ordered that with the earlier suspension of Adams Oshomole, that Chief Victor Giadom should act as national chairman of the party. What role does the National Working Committee play in all this? Because now it's the constitution of the party versus a court order. So what role does the National Working Committee play in all of this? Especially as 15 members of the National Working Committee had appointed Hilliard Etta as acting chairman. Of course, the national vice chairman, South. At a press conference, the National Secretariat he explained that his appointment was in tandem with the constitution of the party. So if 15 members of the National Working Committee appointed him, how does this all play in legitimizing his emergence as leader of the party in view of the obvious challenges Abiola Ajimobi is facing, especially his health?
Well, I've read, where somebody argued that even the claim of Victor Giadom has its own issues, in the sense that what Victor got was just an ex parte order. And an ex parte order expires after a certain period. And it will mean that that order must have expired.
Okay.
So it's not like a judgment. It's not a law. We
were told that Victor Giadom resigned, because Hilliard Etta also said this today. He went ahead to declare the seat of the deputy national secretary of the party, which Victor Giadom, as you rightly pointed out earlier, occupied, as vacant on the basis that he, Giadom, had resigned his membership of the National Working Committee prior to the 2019 general elections to contest elections in Rivers State.
Yeah, Kofi, you see, these arguments, people can make them back and forth and all of that. And somehow, depending on the lens with which you are viewing the whole thing, depending on the angle that you are looking from, sometimes they will look right, at other times they may not be so right.
Okay.
And that is why, the question about the role of the National Working Committee is also very important. But you see, even in the National Working Committee acting or making any decision, they also need to be guided, because, like I said, what a lot of people are doing these days is that they are assuming what they are not. If you are not a lawyer, if you are not a judge, and you dabble into some of these issues, you can be making a very huge mistake and at the same time thinking that you are right. That is why even lawyers, when they have issues, they seek the advice and the help of other lawyers. Because you cannot be lawyer to yourself and be judge and prosecutor and complainant and everything at the same time. So if you ask me, whatever National Working Committee is doing or not doing should be guided by the advice of the legal advisor of the party, whom I believe is that he should be a lawyer. This lawyer will take all these issues from all these parties, take the judgment of the court, bring the constitution of the party, put all these things on the table, take them one after the other, and try to piece them together. And then he comes out with a clear, position that will help the party overall, so that in case anybody goes to court, you can still have the party and the National Working Committee standing on the side of the law.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Worlu, it's been quite an interesting conversation with you. Before we let you go, because we've crossed the 11 o'clock hour, I don't want to keep you up late. What's the way forward for your party? You've said a bit of that, but in a nutshell, what's the way forward for your party? Hello, Dr. Worlu, are you there? Hello, Dr. Worlu, are you there, please? Hello, sir, are you there? Okay, we seem to have lost Dr. Giftolo. We'll try and get back to him. But I think it's really late. Well, let's see if we can get him back on the line, and we'll take his final comments. Just to give him that honor before we say goodbye. I was just about to release him, but it's still late night talk. My name is Kofi Betels, and hello, Dr. Worlu, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, yes. We're just about to let you go, asking you for your parting words and comments as regards the way forward for your party. You've talked about that but to summarize and in a nutshell, what needs to be done from the aspect, and who can do it, basically.
Now, I want to see the president of the country, who is effectively the leader of the party, convene a meeting of stakeholders at that level, and then guiding them to agree on an amicable, peaceful resolution to this problem. And the reason they need to do this and do it quickly is because, like I said before, as it stands now, the APC is like somebody dancing naked in the market. It is not good for the party. It is not good for the country. It is not good for the future of the party. And if they don't fix it, they leave the voters, they leave the general public thinking that the APC is a house of commotion. And if the APC is a house of commotion, we don't expect Nigerian voters to give their votes to the APC, because no national person does that. So you want to do this thing as quickly as possible, bring back all the warring factions, on the table, and agreeing that in the interest of the country and the party and the members of the party, that we all need to be on the same page, whether it is about who leads the party at the national level as chairman, or about who becomes the flag bearer in the Edo State, which is another turning issue as far as this crisis is concerned. So that at the end and then I also want to see them doing this any other time that issues arise within the party.
Okay. Very interesting. Dr. Worlu will be watching and also, calling on you as time progresses. Hopefully, we'll see that your wishes will come to pass, all for the betterment and health of Nigerian politics, so we can have the country moving in the right direction, since your party is ruling party for now. Thank you very much. Regards to the family. And
I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir, and talk to you soon. We'll put in the highlights online and tagging you later. Thank you very much, sir.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
All right. Dr. Giftolo is of the University of Port Harcourt Faculty of Management Sciences. He's a stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, former caretaker chairman of Obiakpo local government area, one of the largest local government areas in Nigeria. Wow, it's been a whirlwind day. I want to read some of your comments before we go. It's quite interesting. Let's just see what we have coming in. On Twitter, I can see Twitter's boy_PH says, nice one. Thank you, my brother, for that one. Okay, another. Oh, man, it's popping on Facebook. My, oh, my. Okay, Acho Modu has refused to be left out of the discussion today. Of course, Acho is a member of the All Progressives Congress. Good evening to you, Acho, and thank you for joining us today. Let's just see if we can get this fixed. Okay, Acho, this is what he's saying. Says the problem we have in politics is desperation. Majority of the politicians dangerously pursue their own self-interest. This self-interest that is desperately pursued promotes lies, insincerity, deceit, duplicity, subterfuge, and chicanery. Okay, chicanery. Every association, group, or political parties have documents that guide their conduct, usually a constitution. For the APC, there is a constitution which gives direction to all members. The constitution provides for how officers of the party can be elected. Ajimobi was never elected at any convention of the party's national deputy national chairman, South. He was inaugurated as national deputy chairman by the embattled national chairman sometime in March 2020 during the pendency of the matter that ousted Oshomole. This is against the provisions of the constitution of the party. By the way, the Court of Appeals decision made null and void all actions carried out by Oshomole during the period that includes the inauguration of Ajimobi as deputy national chairman. So Ajimobi is not qualified to be an acting national chairman. Ajimobi has, I'm sure, given us the legal angle that Dr. Worlu was declining to comment on. But it's quite interesting. If that is the case, then of course we have a lot of questions to answer. Don't forget, even the papers that are commenting, most of them are based in the Southwest. So what do you expect? But anyway, Kenneth Alvarez says APC is restructuring for stronger politics in River State, and the federal PDP will not have any chance. So really, you call this restructuring? Huh? Okay. Chomodo is back. He says the problem we have in politics is desperation. I think I've read this already. I think this is the same message you sent in. Okay, I think that's Ugo Wanko colleague joining all the way from the UK. Good evening to you. AB George Akbangolo says, good evening, Kofi. I'm just wondering if these fathers with families can come out and be performing like this. What then will they tell the youth? How do they expect victory at any election when they can't even manage their affairs or themselves? 3 acting chairmen in how many days? In 3 hours, my brother. 3 hours. 3 acting chairmen. It's really funny. They should try and put their house in order and stop embarrassing themselves in the name of politics. Okay. Mr. Tony Peterside, thanks for joining in. The Icon Studio is back today. He says, good evening, Kofi. I think from the angle of the law, the right person that is to handle the position of APC acting national chairman is Chief Victor Giadam. The Icon Studio, thank you very much for your comment there. Ify Joy says the APC may tumble and scatter by fire in the Boski in the baddest. Now wow. No be small thing. She says, from what are they still waiting for? From their head, all over the body, spirit of coronavirus. Now wow. Okay. This is just a funny one, but not the kind of messages we like to read on. We want just, if you let it make sense, so that I know you're trying to have a funny take. John Peters has put up a long message here, which is quite long. Achomodu says the APC leadership should rise and provide leadership. That is a big question for your political party. But of course, guess who is smiling to the bank? The PDP. And of course, the governor of River State was really on form when he addressed the press regarding the Edo State governorship issue following the visit of governor of Edo State to see him at the government house in Port Harcourt. So, well, if it doesn't go well for the APC, I'm sure the PDP will not have any complaints at all. Thank you very much for your time. That's the much we're going to take on Late Night Talk. I want to thank all of you who've been watching live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Twitter. Very soon we'll add Instagram to it. So we'll be on on all corners of the world. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I don't think there's anybody in River State right now, be it radio station or be it what do they call it again? Be it radio station or be it online media outfit that is on all the platforms. I mean, it's possible. It's not a big achievement, but I'm sure we can always give ourselves a pat on the back. They are live everywhere. And people have been asking me questions. I don't know what people want me to say. Yeah, I keep getting questions. Where are you? What station? You are watching me here. Now you're asking me where am I? I'm here. See me here. So I'll be back tomorrow 9:30 p.m. If you think there's some things that we can bring to make this a bit more interesting, you can send me a DM on Twitter, an inbox message on Facebook, or can email me or comment on any of the YouTube posts, live streams, so that I can know what to do. I'm thinking of starting earlier, maybe 9 p.m. or 8:30. But I don't want to start too early when people will not be home. And me too, I have to run around to do something. So let's see how it goes. But thank you very much for supporting me. My name is Kofi Patel. This has been Late Night Talk. I want to thank you. I love all of you. I return tomorrow. If there's someone you think I should interview, someone you think that we should have here on the set, or maybe the person is outside Port Harcourt, we want us to call them and talk to them. There are topics you think we should cover. Why don't you send a message to me with your suggestions? You can just comment on this live stream on the post, and I'll be very glad to read your comments. God bless you. My name is Kofi Patel once again. See you tomorrow, 9:30. I might be here by 9. Time will tell. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you.